All right, so I just got back from the gym. I'm going to do this Tough Mudder race in about 3 weeks. I have been training for about 3 weeks. Got back into training first part of September, but I'm going to try to pick up the pace a little bit the next 3 weeks leading up to the Tough Mudder, which is October 20th, and get a little bit more serious. I took the summer off from any real serious training. I'm active. I mountain bike. I rollerblade. I go to the beach, swim, all kinds of stuff. And I do get to the gym, but I don't do it with any regularity, and I also don't do it with any real purpose. I'm not lifting heavy. I'm not lifting in progressions or with any kind of real focus in mind. Just trying to sort of maintain a base. So my thought in going into this Tough Mudder was, first of all, I hate to run. Absolutely hate to run, especially distance. I'll run short bursts, but anything above 100 meters becomes distance for me. And I just don't do it well, don't like it. I think it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing, although I'm about 195 pounds, and it's tough to carry 195 pounds around to any distance. But the thing about the Tough Mudder is that although it's a 12-mile race essentially, you're essentially running from obstacle to obstacle, which intrigued me. And so I can put up with the running. I think the longest I'll have to run between obstacles is somewhere around 3 miles. So, I think, it intrigued me that, getting from point A to point B, no problem. Could certainly crank out 3 miles. But the sort of the juxtaposition of a little bit of running combined with these obstacles and of course the mud and the fun of it really intrigued me. The whole idea behind this blog and this training thing is to apply PST, functional activity-specific functional training, or activity-specific coordination training, the ideas of biomechanics, and apply these principles in many different variations. We do this obviously with ZenoLink every day for specific sport and for specific activity within the sport, hitting or throwing, tennis stroke, or whatever it might be, a lacrosse shot. In some of these cases, like with the Tough Mudder, it's a little bit more general. But what I try to get across is that you can take pretty simple standard training protocols, and if you have an idea of some fundamental, real functional movement or real functional coordination direction with respect to the types of things that the body needs to do, you can get way more out of your traditional training. You'll never look at a bench press or a simple exercise the same again. And so part of it is just documenting, I'm going to throw data into the mix. I'm going to test myself doing squats. I'm going to test myself doing running, doing different things so you can see the data on it. You can see how I apply the data. That being said, it's mostly about opening your eyes to looking at these exercises from a functional perspective. If you're just in the gym to look good, if you're just in the gym to be strong, if you're a power lifter or something like that, that's one thing. But even then, you can be much more functional about what you're doing. If you're in the gym to improve your overall ability to perform life activities or sport activities, that's what we're talking about. So that being said, just a real quick overview. I just got back from the gym. As I said, today was a leg day for me. Now, what I've tried to do with this Tough Mudder, I've never done anything like this. So what I've tried to do is I normally would be reconditioning to get back into heavy lifting, which I would start to do late winter, late fall, early winter, and then with my heavy segments in the sort of the dead of the winter. And I try to go from cycling short cycles into heavy singles and doubles, followed by short cycles of power. And then a little bit of speed, and then recycle back in. So I usually go through about 3 cycles of heavy lifting into power and speed over the course of the winter, and I would use this time to condition into that. So what I'm doing with the Tough Mudder coming up is I'm conditioning with the mindset I'm going to be getting heavy later this year. But I also have to do certain things in this Tough Mudder. The big thing is to be able to run, get my heart rate up, from a cardiovascular aerobic capacity, fatigue myself, and then do stuff like climb a wall, navigate some barbed wire, crawling on the floor or the mud for whatever it is, 50 yards, 100 yards underneath some barbed wire, rope climbing, navigating ropes and logs to get across water, things like that. So with that in mind, what I've been trying to do is, as I condition back to heavier lifting, I'm also trying to condition myself for that kind of activity. So with respect to that, today, like a leg day, I will go in and I will do my warm-ups, and then I will get into squat. I'll do reasonably heavy. I'm just getting back into it, so I'm just conditioning, so it's not as heavy as I would be in a few months or so. But I'll lift fairly heavily, and I'll progress heavier and heavier as this cycle goes on. But basically do back squats, and in those back squats, like today I did 295 for sets of 5. And what I'll do is I'll go right from the squat. I'll finish up my rep of 5. I'll hit my timer, start the timer going. I'll go over, I'll do pull-ups, usually anywhere from 15 to 20 pull-ups. I will then go over and do some core work. It might be in a machine, it might be free weight. It can be, what I try to do is mix both planar, sagittal plane action with multiplanar, either diagonal rotational kind of stuff or diagonal crunch kind of stuff. And I do that, and then I'll come back to the squat. And what I'm doing is I'm timing myself from the squat to my next squat. I'm giving myself a 4-minute recovery so that I'm pushing the weight heavy, but I'm also fatiguing myself as I go through. So then after I'm done with that series of intervals, and I'll usually do 3 or 4 sets of that, I'll then go into like a Bulgarian split squat. I use a barbell instead of dumbbells. I don't like dumbbells because I feel like I lose posture too easy. So I'll do a barbell. Today I think I did 135 for sets of 5. I'll do left leg, right leg, and then go right over. And today I did what I would call like a hanging power curl. So I'm really, really working not so much bicep strength, but core strength and core strength related to, bicep strength or pull strength. And I'll talk about each of these individual exercises down the road as I go into the training. And I'll do 3 to 4 sets of that, again, timing myself to start after I finish the Bulgarian split squats and giving myself 3 to 4 minutes recovery before the next set. Again, 3 to 4 sets there. And then my last set, I'll do some weighted hip thrusts, and I'll combine the hip thrusts with some more core work. So again, I'll start my hip thrusts. Here I'm doing sets of 7. And then I'll go over and I'll do some dynamic core work, again, mixing some planar stuff with some multiplanar stuff. And then again, giving myself 3 to 4 minutes rest from the end of the last weighted hip thrust, and come back and I'll do that for, again, 3 or 4 sets, and then I'm out of the gym. And trying to work that into the mix. And then I'll talk more about how I do it. Like today I did yoga in the morning. I did 80 push-ups after, not directly after the yoga, but after the yoga in the morning. And then I went to the gym in the early afternoon. So I kind of split it up. Tomorrow I'll do some interval running and chest and core. And I'll kind of, or upper body and core, kind of work that through, and I'll describe that. I can't do video blog for every single day, but that's, basically how I'm starting to move into this training, and I'll try to document that training as we move forward.